Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
But something else, of course, that Hillary Clinton doesn't want exposed is her global financial network. And now we can say with the Panama Papers, they had Putin up there, all of his friends, and it was like the big hit piece on Vladimir Putin. But really, Hillary Clinton has a lot of key financial partners that have been wrapped up in these offshore entities. They are really heavily involved in the Clinton Global Financial Network. So this includes controversial financiers and foreign entities that have been operating with the infusion of funds from offshore accounts and entities all around the world. And there are more revelations to come. The Panama Papers reveal that major Clinton financial partners, including Canadian mining magnate Frank Gustra and another family out of Nigeria. Gustra is one of the largest contributors to the Clinton Foundation. He donated more than $25 million. Several key figures in the uranium deal that sent 20% of American uranium production into the hands of the Russian government. They had offshore entities created by Mossack Fonseca. And of course, as we've reported before, it was that uranium deal that required approval from the Hillary Clinton State Department before it could go forward. And so 9 shareholders in Uranium One sent a combined $145 million to the Clinton Foundation. And what did you rubber stamped uranium, and now Russia has 20% of the American uranium, no big deal. But another one of Hillary's friends, her little buddies caught up in the Panama Papers, is Brazil's impeached president, Dilma Rousseff. This was a woman who Hillary Clinton previously claimed set the global standard for fighting political corruption. This was back in 2012. She said, "There is no better partner to have started this effort and to be leading it than Brazil, and in particular, President Rousseff. Her commitment to openness, transparency, her fight against corruption is setting a global standard." So this is someone, she obviously has a very keen sense of someone who is just the paragon of virtue here, because as the Panama Papers detail, Rousseff was involved in a scheme that used upwards of $26 billion in state funds to hide any economic problems and also to pad her own re-election campaigns in 2010 and 2014. Because, as we pointed out, she was very hotly contested. 60,000 fans booed her in the stadium. And then after those Smartmatic voting machines, those electronic voting machines came in, all of a sudden, everyone likes her, and she was reelected. So I wonder if any of that money was used to pad for those electronic voter machines. But you know what? That's probably sexist of me to say that, because indeed she is a woman, and that's what Hillary Clinton says, that anything that's against her high unfavorable rating, it's because of sexism. This is according to CNN's Errol Lewis. He was asked by the host there on a panel, Chris Cuomo, why Hillary's unfavorable rating is 20 points down from where it should be with registered Democrats. And Lewis said that the Clinton strategists think that misogyny amongst voters is a primary reason. A lot of the sexism, I mean, it's buried so deep that people just say, I don't trust her. She doesn't keep her word. And even the host, Chris Cuomo, couldn't sit there. He kind of sat and listened and said, really, sexism? And then he stopped him. He was like, are you sure it's not the cascade of scandals that makes people not trust Hillary Clinton? Totally delusional, just like our boy Ted Cruz, who, of course, is claiming that he has won landslides over and over again by beating Donald Trump. They've been kind of going at it on Twitter. He says he's landslides in 5 consecutive states, even though only one of those states even held an election. Because as we know, he doesn't care about the votes. We don't need no stinking votes. He's got the delegates. And now it's also been revealed that the Colorado lawmakers who voted to scrap the election are actually Ted Cruz delegates. So more and more, we're kind of seeing behind the scenes there of just how this is kind of a long-term game. Wayne Madsen details even more.
Wayne, you've heard me throw out a lot of points here. The election theft. Why are they so scared of Trump? What's other big news you're working on? I know you've broken some big stories as well that are at WayneMadsenReport.com and Infowars.com. Karl Rove backing Cruz and Clinton at the same time. Also, you asked, was Cruz's father linked to the JFK assassination? Cuban hired by Lee Harvey Oswald bears a striking resemblance. Well, we know he was tied into these very groups. So we can, and the Bushes were running that operation. We know he later, Cruz himself came to work for the Bushes. So let's cover those issues right now, Wayne.
Well, yeah, the one I'm currently working on is the Rafael Cruz. Now, there's actually there's like 3 Rafael Cruzes. This gets really complicated, but when I'm looking at the background of the Cruz family, I think we got another Obama. We've got CIA people on both sides, mom and dad, and the photograph, the one with Lee Harvey Oswald pamphleteering in front of the International Trade Mart in New Orleans, by the way, which was owned by Clay Shaw, who was the main target of Jim Garrison's investigation. We have the only guy not identified in that photograph is the guy that looks a lot like Rafael Cruz. I've got the FBI report from November 1963. They were not able to identify that individual. The House Select Committee on Assassinations of 1978, Robert Blakey, the general counsel, recently reaffirmed after he appeared on Frontline. He said, we don't know who that guy is. We never determined who that guy is. Well, even if you're not going to use the photo as evidence of Rafael's ties to the people in New Orleans that were being looked at by Jim Garrison, let's look at his company he worked for. He said he was a geophysical computer guy for this company that was owned by a French oil services company, Schlumberger. The heir to the Schlumberger company, Jean de Menil, winds up as a member of the board of directors of Permindex out of New Orleans, which was a CIA front company run by who? Clay Shaw. The photograph of the Rafael Cruz lookalike is taken where? In front of the International Trade Mart owned by Clay Shaw. But the story on Rafael Cruz and the grandparents, his name was, look, Ted Cruz's father was Rafael Bienvenidos Cruz. His father was Rafael Bienvenidos Cruz. Now try to look up records on people with the same last names. But the grandparents came from Cuba in 1966. Rafael came in 57. He said he came to escape Castro's Cuba. 57, Castro wasn't in power for another 3 years, so he lied about that. His father worked for RCA in Cuba at a time when RCA was involved in a lot of anti-communist activities, including setting up clandestine radio stations for the CIA. So, you know, what do we know about the Cruz family? Right now, we know about as much as we knew about Obama's family in 2008. And mea culpa, I didn't look at Obama's family back then, and I found out soon enough, weeks after his inauguration, how he was linked to the CIA. And it turns out the whole family.
Well, I'll tell you, Cruz's dad does have a interesting looking features that are somewhat unique, and it does look like a spitting image of his dad. But then you add it in together with the whole Cuban community, how he's one of the early communities, how he's hooked into all these different skunk works type organizations, and then how his son goes right up at the top with the Bushes, who we know were running the operation to kill Kennedy, George Herbert Walker Bush Sr., who's come out and declassified documents to have been in the CIA in the early 60s. He lied about it when he became the director in the 70s, just magically the director, but never been in it.
Yeah, and one of the guys in that photograph in front of the Trade Mart at the far right is Chauncey Holt, who was the accountant for Meyer Lansky, the mobster. And Chauncey Holt apparently told author Ed Haslam, who wrote a book about all this in New Orleans in those years, that all the Cubans in that photograph were part of the CIA's Operation Mongoose. That was the clandestine program to overthrow Fidel Castro. And Oswald was there doing all this just to, you know, sheep dip these people as part of an a pro-Castro movement.
Sure, it's a cover. Absolutely. This is to get their legend going. Please take a moment to listen to what I'm about to break down very, very carefully, because the information I'm about to lay out in just 2 minutes changed my life and changed the life of many, many people around me. I was a big sports enthusiast, but loved to eat like a pig when I was 10 years old up to about 22 or so. And I ran 6 miles every other day and lifted weights almost every day and had a great physique. Then I got into radio and television 21 years ago and got so busy in my work, I stopped working out. And everything was okay for 4 or 5 years, but then suddenly I started putting on pounds every month. And in the next 10 years, I gained almost 100 pounds. Then about 7 years ago, I began jogging, swimming long distances, and lifting weights again, trying to lose weight, and was only able to lose about 20 of the 98 pounds. I even changed my diet. I even increased the exercise. It didn't work. But as soon as I began to get the nutrients and compounds that I needed, my whole life changed. I've gone from 200 and almost 80 pounds down to about 220 pounds or so. It is incredible. And in just the last 3 years, Super Male Vitality, developed by Dr. Group for InfoWarsLife.com exclusively, and products like the Survival Shield X2 Nascent Iodine have just done incredible things for my body. I work out less. Even though I'm older, I've lost more weight. My muscles got stronger, my stamina, my libido, and so much more. The truth is, we went out to bring you the very best we could, true game-changing products. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today and secure your Super Male or Female Vitality and X2 True Nascent Iodine today, and hopefully start your journey towards living a more natural, focused, clean life. There's a lot of other excellent nutraceuticals we've developed, and also third-party ones that we sell at InfoWarsLife.com that are excellent. But the 2 game changers that I believe if you order them are most likely to really give you the biggest bang for your buck are Super Male Vitality and Female Vitality, and of course, X2 Nascent Iodine. Take the challenge, visit InfoWarsLife.com today, and secure your nutraceuticals. At the same time, know that you're funding the fight for freedom worldwide. Thank you for your support.